Hi there, Tad Hargrove from Marketing for Hippies, and today's video is just a quick example of filtering and the importance of it. So, a couple of weeks ago I had a woman book a puttering session with me. So it's an hour where I'm puttering around my home, tidying, and for a discount people get coaching. And I'll put the link to that below if you're interested. She came wanting help with her niche, and that's actually been something that has been happening a lot, where people are bringing questions around their niche, and I find we can actually usually make quite a bit of progress in figuring out their niche. Even in just 1 hour, we can get some clear next steps. So she mentioned she wanted to work on her niche, and I said, well, that's great, that's exciting. And she'd actually put a lot of thought into it, and she came with lists, and it was just clear that we weren't going to get there in an hour. But I was able to give her some next steps, and why don't you try this exercise, check out this video, read this blog post, here's some general feedback about what you're bringing so far, why don't you take this and work with it a bit and then come back. So she was pretty antsy during the call. I could tell she was really, there was an urgency in her voice, a kind of desperation, wanting to get this fixed and solved right now, which I understand, gosh. So I did the best I could. At the end of the call, she said, I'm just really disappointed that we didn't get a niche statement done. And I thought she was joking at first, and then I realized she meant it. She was really disappointed that somehow she thought we were supposed to get there. And there was a lot of things going on. One is, it doesn't feel good when you work really hard and the only feedback the person gives you, despite genuine value having been given, is I'm disappointed that it wasn't perfect or didn't give me exactly what I want. Especially because nowhere in any of the materials did I promise that we could figure out a niche in an hour, or would I? I've got a whole 90-day program around figuring out your niche, because that was the shortest I could imagine getting it for someone to get to a workable, profitable niche. And then a few days later, she emailed me to remind me that she was disappointed. And I wrote her back just saying, look, basically saying what I just said now. This doesn't feel great. I understand that it doesn't feel good to spend money expecting something and not getting it, but I didn't promise it. And it's also okay to have some appreciation for what you did get. That would feel good on my end. And she ended up apologizing, God bless her, and said, yeah, I'm so sorry for my unacceptable behavior, and who knows, maybe I'll hear from her again. But two things that came out of this for me. One is, I went to the Puttering Session sales letter and I wove in a bit like this, and this is one of the main things I want you to get from this. If you have a moment like this in your business, it's helpful to over-respond to it, not overreact to it. I think I did a video about this. I'll put the link below. Meaning, if it happens, it's very easy to say, well, that didn't feel very good. Have a client treat me like that, so let's hope that never happens again. Better to actually weave it back into your sales letter, into the process, where in that sales letter now it just says, hey, if you think we're gonna get a niche in an hour, it's just not gonna happen. So please go find someone else to be disappointed by. You can read that. I'll put the link below, but you can go read what I wrote there. So whenever you have an experience with a client who's upset or disappointed, first of all, it's good to be clear. Did you make a promise and then break it? Because then that's good feedback for you that you've really got to take on and say, okay, I've got to change my sales letter to lower the expectations, not to be making so many promises. Or is it that you never promised it, but they're expecting it? And if so, then you got to weave that in and say, hey, sometimes people come expecting this. I don't do that. It'd be like somebody coming to you as a naturopath with cancer, and at the end of the hour being upset that there's not a plan to eliminate their cancer, guaranteed. You'd be staggered by that. I can't believe after these 5 counseling sessions you didn't stop my divorce. What? So we have to manage the expectations. There's some things we can promise, and there's some things we can't promise. And it's good to be very clear with people. I can promise this. I can't promise this. I go into this a lot in my ebook, The Art of Relevance. There's a whole section about what about the things you can't guarantee and you can't promise. So that's the first thing. Is it feedback about how you need to change your materials to either lower expectations or manage the expectations? But the second thing is, it's, this isn't her fault that she has this expectation that a niche can be solved or come to so quickly. This is what my gut says, and my experience as well. There's so many courses out there, online courses, live courses, where niching is the first week. Yeah. Obviously, the first step, we got to figure out your niche, then we'll do the other things. But they literally give it 1 week. And by that, I mean a 90-minute call with a bit of homework. And you're expected in 1 week to figure out your niche. It just takes time. If you're struggling with your niche, you're not crazy. You're not alone. It just seems to take time. But when people speak about niching in such a casual way, in such a, oh, well, it's just easy, you can solve it real quick, guess who has to deal with the fallout of that? Everybody else they ever work with, including me. Yeah. When I do these day-long workshops and I travel around, I know I'm dealing with the suspicion of people having gone to other people's workshops and being burned at those workshops. So, what we do in business and our marketing and our sales, it has consequences that go way beyond us. For her to show up knowing that niching is important, but imagining it could be solved in 1 hour, I don't think that comes from her. I think that comes from my colleagues. Not all of them, but enough of them that she thinks that would be a reasonable thing to imagine, because I imagine it's been promised before. And now she's hoping I'll be different and I'll be better. But I just think the whole setup is unrealistic. So that's all I want to share about that. I hope that's useful for you. Keep honing your marketing to filter. Because if you do that, if you do the filtering well, you're also doing well by anyone else they're going to work with. If you keep the expectations proper, then they're not going to show up on somebody else's doorstep looking for another person to be disappointed by. Yeah. All right. Thanks so much.